Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things I personally find intriguing enough for me to bring to you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application On This Day, the icon of which is shown as cutoff prevention at the beginning and end of each episode, or you can check it out over there. The music in the background is Puzzle by RetroVision, which I found on the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds, aka NCS. For links to the app, music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. Now let's get on with the show, shall we? Today is Tuesday, aka Tuesday, June 28, 2016. In 2009, Honduran President Manuel Zelaya was ousted by a local military coup following a failed request to hold a referendum to rewrite the Honduran constitution. This was the start of the 2009 Honduran constitutional crisis. In 2004, sovereign power was handed to the interim government of Iraq by the Coalition Provisional Authority, ending the US-led rule of that nation. That's bogus, we still pull the strings. In 1997, Mike Tyson was disqualified during the third round of Holyfield-Tyson 2 for biting off a piece of Evander Holyfield's ear. In 1996, the Constitution of Ukraine was signed into law. In 1994, members of the Aum Shinrikyo cult released sarin gas in Matsumoto, Japan, causing the deaths of 7 people and the injury of 660 others. In 1992, the Constitution of Estonia was signed into law. In 1989, on the 600th anniversary of the Battle of Kosovo, Slobodan Milosevic delivered the Gazi Mestan speech at the site of the historic conflict. In 1987, for the first time in officially documented military history, a civilian population was targeted for chemical attack when Iraqi warplanes bombed the Iranian town of Sardasht. Now whoa, here's a thought. What about when the United States military dropped Agent Orange and all those other horrid things on civilian populations during the Vietnam conflict? It seems history is not always written by the victor, but by those who have the most money. In 1981, a powerful bomb exploded in Tehran, causing the deaths of 73 officials of the Islamic Republican Party. In 1978, the United States Supreme Court ruled in Regents of the University of California versus Back for the quota systems in college admissions to be barred. In 1976, the Angolan court sentenced US and UK mercenaries to death sentences and prison terms in the Luanda trial. In 1973, elections were held for the Northern Ireland Assembly, which would lead to power sharing between Unionists and Nationalists in Northern Ireland for the first time. In 1969, Stonewall riots began in New York City, marking the start of the homosexual rights movements. In 1964, Malcolm X formed the Organization of Afro-American Unity. Now, a more factually correct name would be the Organization of Black United States Citizens Unity. In 1956, in Ponzan, workers from the HCP factory went to the streets, sparking one of the first major protests against communist government both in Poland and in Europe. In 1950, during the Korean War, the North Korean Army conducted the Seoul National University Hospital Massacre. Also in 1950 and also during the Korean War, packed with its own refugees fleeing Seoul and leaving their 5th Division stranded, South Korean forces blew up the Hangang Bridge in an attempt to slow the North Korean offensive. Also in 1950 and also during the Korean War, suspected communist sympathizers, argued to be between 100,000 and 200,000 people, were executed in the Bodo League massacre. Yeah, that's the spirit! Lower yourselves to the level of your enemy by murdering people suspected to have a different political ideology. Stupid. Also in 1950 and also during the Korean War, Seoul was captured by North Korean troops. In 1948, the Tito-Stalin split resulted in the expulsion of the League of Communists of Yugoslavia from the Cominform. In 1945, Poland's Soviet-allied Provisional Government of National Unity was formed a month after VE Day. In 1942, during World War II, Nazi Germany started Case Blue, its strategic summer offensive against the Soviet Union. In 1940, Romania ceded Bessarabia, known today as Moldova, to the Soviet Union after facing an ultimatum. In 1936, the Japanese puppet state of Zhejiang was formed in northern China. In 1926, Mercedes-Benz was formed by Gottlieb Daimler and Carl Benz via merging their two companies. In 1922, the Irish Civil War began with the shelling of the 4 courts in Dublin by Free State forces. In 1921, the Serbian king Aeoxander I proclaimed the new constitution of the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, known thereafter as the Vitoven Constitution. In the year 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, ending the state of war between Germany and the Allies of World War I. In 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife Sophie were assassinated in Sarajevo by Bosnian Serb nationalist Gavrilo Princip, the casus belli of World War I. Now that's interesting. From cause to end, World War I lasted for literally exactly 5 years. In 1902, the U.S. Congress passed the Spooner Act, authorizing President Theodore Roosevelt to acquire rights from Colombia for the Panama Canal. In 1895, the United States Court of Private Land Claims ruled James Revis's claim to barony of Arizona is wholly fictitious and fraudulent. In 1895, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua formed the Greater Republic of Central America. Yes, that's right, Central America. No, I'm not talking about the Bible Belt because America is a continent, not a country. It's pretty much the entire Western Hemisphere of the Earth, and anyone who refers to the United States of America as America is too stupid to deserve my air. In 1894, Labor Day became an official U.S. holiday. In 1882, the Anglo-French Convention of 1882 marked the territorial boundaries between Guinea and Sierra Leone. In 1865, the Army of the Potomac was disbanded. In 1846, Adolphe Sax patented the saxophone. In 1807, during the Second British invasion of the Rio de la Plata, John Whitelock landed at Ensenada in a vain attempt to recapture Buenos Aires, only to be defeated by the locals. In 1778, the U.S. Continentals engaged the British during the Battle of Monmouth Courthouse, resulting in a standstill and causing the Brits to withdraw under the cover of darkness. In 1776, Thomas Hickley, Continental Army private and bodyguard to General George Washington, was hanged for mutiny and sedition. Also in 1776, the Battle of Sullivan's Island ended with the first decisive American victory during the American Civil War, leading to the commemoration of Carolina Day. Now, I did not contradict my earlier rant because the United States did not yet exist at this date in 1776, so it was still the American colonies. And in 1636, Guadeloupe became a French colony. First, Adrian Anis, 1973, Elon Musk, 1971, Tom Merritt, 1970, John Cusack, 1966, Robert Aspirin, 1946, Mel Brooks, 1926. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in. Don't forget to rate 5 thumbs and subscribe. For your dose of Passive Events Daily, I'm Aeoxander, and you are you. Toodles!